So, autofocus. This is wonderful. We're off to a great start. So, when I talked about in my previous video earlier today, I talked about I did a quick mention of the Amazon movie adaptation of Hellsing, and I just thought it'd be kind of fun to do like a quick fan video, a fan cast of who I would have at my picks for autofocus. We're just gonna have to deal with it. Just a quick video talking about like actors I would love to see play the characters, and I could be totally wrong, but this is just my fan casting. And I'm always curious to see what you guys have to say. And as you guys know, I'm not the biggest at fan casting, so I'm always excited to hear yours. I'm not going to shit on anyone, but I'm always fascinated to hear everyone else's fan cast as well. So let's get started. And starting off, we got to talk about goddamn autofocus. We got to talk about the elephant in the room. Who to cast as Alucard? You need someone who can be big, imposing, and just have that kind of aura of cool, and just kind of that stoic nature. Like he like you can just tell in his eyes he's a monster. Now, Alucard, it's been kind of battling it back and forth in my brain, but it's come down to two actors, and one of which I borrowed from a friend of mine, Jason. And he suggested this guy, and I can't get it out of my head. He would be perfect too, but I also wanted to make a case for another actor that I originally thought of. So let's talk about Jason's pick first, and that is Richard Armitage. Richard Armitage, most of you guys would know him best as Thorin Oakenshield from the Hobbit trilogy, and he's also voiced... goddamn autofocus, come on. I know the lighting sucks, but seriously. Most of you guys would know him best as the voice of Trevor Belmont from the Castlevania series. He's also been doing the voice of Wolverine for the Wolverine audio plays for Marvel. So he's actually also, fun fact, my cast for Wolverine. And I'm actually like, not just because like, oh, I want him as live action Wolverine in an MCU movie. It's more that that was before that got cast. He got cast as the voice of Wolverine. This was actually before that. I wanted him to be Wolverine since I saw him as Thorin way back in 2013. I thought he would be a great replacement to play Logan. But I think also Jason really made this great argument that he's got the body. He's actually a really big dude. He's 6'2". He's got the body build for Alucard. He's got the voice down, definitely. He just needs to be like Thor and just a little more bass. I could almost hear him saying, "I am the bird of Hermes." And yeah, I think he'd be great. I think he'd be a really good pick. I just, I can just imagine just that voice and whatnot. Richard Armitage would be a great Alucard. Now here's my pick, and I'm going to make a case for it. Carl Urban. Carl Urban, I think, would be a really cool Dracula, Alucard. Dracula's the same damn thing. I think he'd be a really cool Alucard. Again, he's got the body size for it. And after watching him in Priest, and in that costume as Top Hat, or whatever the character's name, I forget, it's been a while, that movie's not great. But while I was watching Priest, I was basically like, yeah, he would be like seeing his portrayal of like this dark but also like cunning and almost joking vampire as Alucard's persona is. I could definitely envision him in the red just change the costume he was wearing, just make it red, and he's Alucard. Yeah. So those are the two picks. Richard Armitage or Urban are my two picks for Alucard. So now we got to talk about. Now we have to talk about Integra. So Integra, I kind of like this one's going to be an off-put, like an oddball one, but I think she could do it. Rosamund Pike. Rosamund Pike is a award-winning actress. Obviously, she did Doom. We're going to forgive her for that. But she's a award-winning actress. She's also got a very commanding presence in most of her roles, and that's what you need for Integra, is someone who can be a very commanding presence, and someone who will, like, command the scenery more than Alucard, because that's Integra. Whenever Integra walks in the room, you're more concerned, you want to hear more from her, and this is the person who, like, can make the Lord of Vampires bend the knee. So I think, and Rosamund Pike, I think, really does capture it, at least for me. Again, I'm not the best at casting, so it's going to be interesting to see what everyone thinks of Rosamund Pike as my pick for Integra. she's already doing an Amazon show already, so why not just have her do this? Yeah. So next up, we're going to talk about Saris. So Saris is interesting because there are a few I kind of thought of back and forth, but I keep going back to and there's a couple, and I'm pretty sure someone else is going to come up with a better cast than I do for the character. Among them, the two like Billie Piper, but she's a little too old to play Saris now. Yeah, I think she's just a little too old to play Billie Piper. If this was like 2000, if this was like like Doctor Who series 1 age Billie Piper, she'd be picture perfect for Saris Victoria. And I'm not saying Billie Piper's bad. I loved her in Penny Dreadful. Word got away from me, but yeah, she was perfect in Penny Dreadful. I think she'd be great, but I think, again, now she's a little too old. And this is going to get some people fired up, but I think, like, my current pick would be Daisy Ridley for Saris. I think she has that kind of vulnerability that Saris has, as well as she can also switch it up and be as aggressive as Saris was. I think she's got, I think she'd be a great Saris. But that's just me, and I know everyone's already getting like Vietnam flashbacks to, Star Wars and the sequel trilogy, and we're not here to talk about that. And I know someone's going to be like, "Oh, I don't like Daisy Ridley because I don't like the Star Wars movies." Yeah, well, actors can do other stuff, as Ewan McGregor has shown, and several other actors have shown. So, yeah, I totally think Daisy Ridley would be. But again, I'm not the best at casting. But I just feel like Daisy Ridley would be I think she'd kind of carry that kind of aggression and vulnerability that Saris has. Also, I'd love to see her play off of. I'd really like to see her play off of Armitage or Urban. I don't know. I just think that'd be a cool combination. Anyway, so let's talk about Walter. Now, Walter is, again, we're coming to two actors I was really thinking of. And the two actors that keep coming back to me are kind of obvious picks, and I'm not the only one who's thought these, but it's just so obvious, one of these two guys. And the two people I thought of are Jeremy Irons and Bill Nighy for one of those two actors. Jeremy Irons or Bill Nighy for Walter. They're just, both of them, they're both perfect for the role. Like, they both kind of have that they can both easily get down that kind of sardonic tone, and also that ferocious, commanding presence when Walter flips the switch to Vampire Hunter. Yeah. Definitely. Absolutely. I think Nighy or Irons would be perfect as Walter C. Dornez. So that's the main cast. Let's talk about some miscellaneous characters. So just some minor characters here and there. Anderson, obviously, we need to talk about. Anderson, there's a few actors who I think would be really cool. Kevin McKidd was one of my picks for Anderson. Sean Bean was also, for some reason, I just kind of imagine Sean Bean as Anderson. He's just got Anderson's physicality and just commanding presence. Also, he'll die like Sean Bean. Anderson dies. There was also like I said, Kevin McKidd, Sean Bean, Ewan McGregor was another one who I thought would be actually like Ewan McGregor. If I was to really to pick it out, it'd probably be McGregor for. Well, actually, no, I don't. Well, McGregor would be good, but I think Bean kind of carries that kind of, because I've seen villain roles where he's very loud and boisterous, like Anderson. McKidd was just he has the physicality, but logically speaking, does he have that kind of commanding presence? So Bean, the more I think about Bean, Sean Bean, I know we're doing the obvious pick here, but Sean Bean, if I was to pick out of the three now that I think about it, probably would be more Bean. Of the three, it would be Sean Bean who I would pick as Anderson. Anyway. What was I going to say? So, And also, just for a miscellaneous pick, David Tennant for Enrico Maxwell. I just like he's played Tennant has played a lot of like off the wall characters, so Enrico Maxwell is if you've seen Harry Potter, which I know I'm not a Harry Potter fan by any stretch of the imagination, but if there are Harry Potter fans out there, you already know that he can play off the wall characters, and Maxwell is a very off the wall character and just kind of this reserved insanity. So I think David Tennant, just me personally, I think he would really kill it as Enrico Maxwell. Trying to the problem is I can't really picture, it's really hard to see who could play the main villains, the Dandy Man or obviously the Major. I can't really think of who could play the Major. I know some people say Hugo Weaving, but I was like, that's just copying pasting his performance as Red Skull. And I do think Hugo Weaving could be in here in some capacity, but I don't see him as the Major. I just can't see him as the Major. I do think as for others, I do see Gary Oldman as the Doctor. I think he'd be really cool in that role. That's just me thinking out loud. But for others like Rip Van Winkle and there's just so many characters. I forgot. For the actress to play Zorn Blitz, I will say that the actress who played, I'm forgetting her name, but you know her as the actress who played Phasma and Brienne of Tarth. She is my only pick, and I'm pretty sure the only pick for a lot of other people out there to play Zorn Blitz. She's the only person who could just match that physicality that Zorin has. So, as there's Schrodinger and obviously the Major, I can't tell you. It's just really hard to cast those. So you guys tell me in the comments below, who would you have as in fan casting for Hellsing, for a Hellsing live action movie? Just comment below, let me know. I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say. If you haven't already, go check out my Patreon in the link below. And other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.